my name is Allie Schmidt. This is my dad, Dan. He owns Caitlin's Glass.
Thanks, Allie. Things like doors and windows go into making a house. But when it's your home, you expect more, like the great service and selection you'll get from Caitlin's Glass. Vinyl replacement windows from Caitlin's come with a lifetime warranty, including accidental glass breakage replacement. Also ask for custom shower doors and many other products and services. Call 962-1636, locally owned with local employees for nearly 30 years.
Caitlin's Glass, the clear choice.
I want to share something that's become a big part of the BeTempered mission, Patreon. Now, if you've never used it before, Patreon is a platform where we can build community together. It's not just about supporting the podcast. It's about having a space where we can connect on a deeper level, encourage one another, and walk this journey of faith, resilience, and perseverance side by side. Here's how it works. You can join as a free member and get access to daily posts, behind-the-scenes updates, encouragement, and some things I don't always put out on other platforms. And if you feel called to support the mission financially, there are different levels where you can do that too. That support helps us keep producing the podcast, creating gear, hosting events, and sharing stories that we believe can truly impact lives. And here's the cool part. Patreon has a free app you can download right on your phone. It works just like Facebook or Instagram, but it's built specifically for our community. You'll be able to scroll through posts, watch videos, listen to content, and interact with others who are on the same journey. At the end of the day, this isn't just about content, it's about connection. It's about building something together, not just me and Ben putting out episodes, but a family of people committed to growing stronger through real stories and real faith. So whether you just want to hop on as a free member or you feel called to support in a bigger way, Patreon is the door into that community. Because at the heart of BeTempered has always been simple, real stories, raw truth, resilient faith, so that even one person out there that hears what they need to hear, and Patreon helps make that possible.
Welcome to the BeTempered podcast, where we explore the art of finding balance in a chaotic world.
Join us as we delve into insightful conversations, practical tips, and inspiring stories to help you navigate life's ups and downs with grace and resilience.
We're your host, Dan Schmidt and
Ben Spahr.
Let's embark on a journey to live our best lives.
This is BeTempered. Father, thank you for allowing us to be here today. We lift up every family in Preble County who is struggling, the ones who worry about the next meal, who sit in the dark because electricity is turned off, feel embarrassed because they can't provide hygiene, clean clothes for their kids, who are drowning in bills, brokenness, or hopelessness. God, meet them where they are. We lift up Allie, Shafer, your servant in the community as a success liaison. She stands in the gap. She advocates. She comforts. She listens. She finds solutions. God, strengthen her, refreshen her, cover her with your peace and endurance. She is being the feet of Jesus in the hallway and the homes. We also lift up Deb, who is once again fighting lymphoma. Lord, surround her with her healing, hope, and supernatural peace. Wrap her in your presence. Remind her she is not fighting alone. Father, use this conversation today to awaken our hearts, break our hearts for what breaks yours. Amen.
Amen. Ooh. All right. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the BeTempered podcast, episode number
82, Dan.
82.
Very confidently.
Can we get a confirmation on that, Kevin?
Confirmed. He is correct. 82.
Number 82.
10-4 Ghost Rider.
Hey, today on the podcast, we're honored to shine a light on someone whose work sits right at the heart of what it means to lead with compassion, purpose, and service. Our guest, Allie Shafer, has spent the last 8 years as a success liaison.
Nailed it.
Hard to say.
Serving students and families in Preble County schools through the Butler County Educational Service Center. The Success Program, which reaches 9 Butler County districts and all 5 districts in Preble County, exists to help families overcome the non-academic barriers that often stand between a child and their ability to learn. Whether it's food, clothing, housing, medical or dental care, mental health support, or navigating benefits, Success liaisons step into some of the hardest and most personal moments families face. And they do it with dignity, respect, and the belief that every child deserves a chance to succeed. Allie embodies that mission. She doesn't just connect families to resources, she walks with them. She advocates for them and builds the kind of trust that can change the trajectory of a child's life. She lives with the BCESC core values: integrity, family-focused, compassion, and respect. Outside of work, Allie and her husband, Ricky, have built a beautiful life together. 11 years of marriage, raising 3 amazing kids, sharing a love for cooking, organizing, being outdoors, and of course, anything involving coffee. She brings that same warmth, steadiness, and heart into every school building she steps into. And what she loves most about her role, it's the collaboration, the teamwork, the way the agency rallies around families. As she said herself, I love working here because I get to be alongside individuals dedicated to making a positive impact. So today we get to hear the stories behind the work, the moments of challenge, the victories, the tough conversations, and the quiet wins that nobody sees but absolutely matter. Allie Shafer, welcome to the BeTempered podcast.
Welcome, Allie.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we're grateful for you coming here to share your story and to talk about a lot of things that a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
Me being one of those. Last week, I think it was, we were at a career fair and Ben and I's table happened to be next to your table. And we had some conversations there that really struck me about some of the things that you see on a daily basis that you deal with. And just really, as you were talking, I could see your heart. I could see your care and your compassion for the kids, their families, and some of the challenges that a lot of people face in our area. And so you're on the front lines, with some amazing people that help you. But, I'm anxious to hear your story and to get into some of those challenges that you see. And maybe there's some people out there that could get involved to help in some way. And so that's kind of how we got here today. So thank you for coming.
Sure.
We know you're excited.
A little scared. This is a little outside my comfort zone, but
you're
I'm
good.
excited.
Yeah.
You're good. So how we start every podcast is we like to get a story about you, and that'll kind of lay the foundation to what you're doing now. So talk about what life was like for you as a child growing up.
Sure. So, born and raised in Preble County. I grew up in West Alexandria, so went to school at Twin Valley South. My parents divorced when I was young. And so always had the opportunity to kind of live in those 2 different households, both wonderful households. My dad lived the majority of my childhood with his parents, so I had the opportunity during my time with him to be around grandparents all the time, which was a blessing. And then with my mom in her house, again, always had the chance to live around my grandparents, live in close proximity with them, which was amazing. Grew up with 2 sisters, Tara and Madison. I think some of you know them. And then when my mom married my stepdad, Mark, he also has 2 daughters. So when we were all together, there were 5 of us girls in the house, which was, yes, I'm sure you can imagine. It was a lot of fun. We had a wonderful childhood. My parents both did an amazing job in raising me. In those early years, I really had a strong bond with my grandmother, my mom's mom. I really look up to her in so many ways. And I think that she really shaped me and kind of set me on a path in a way. She is, anyone you talk to, they're always like, oh my gosh, your Grandma June is the most wonderful person I've ever met in my entire life. And they're right. She is. She has a heart of gold. She's such a giver. She would just do anything and everything for anyone. And I saw that, at a very early age and kind of, I lived that through my entire childhood, because with my grandmother having, such a belief in helping people and wrapping around people, that passed down to my mom, which then passed down to me. So I just got all of this wonderful, just I have all of these wonderful examples, from a very early age of what it is to love people for who they are, to wrap around people when they're going through difficult times, to see people, to really see people. They just really shaped me in that way. And then again, on my dad's side of the family, growing up with my grandparents in that household as well, my grandmother, my dad's mother, was very, very strong in her faith, very strong in her faith. And that was something that she talked to me about a lot, and we went to church all the time. Sometimes I look back on that, and I was reflecting for the podcast, and I thought, oh my gosh, I remember sometimes, so she went to the Baptist church. And so I swear there would be times we would be at church all day long. It was I'm like, okay, well, we already did Sunday school and we did church, and then we had a mother-grandmother event, and then we have to go back to church at 6:00 that night. So, faith was very important to her. And so she really set a lot of foundational blocks for me in that way, which has been very important in my work. So, the other thing that comes to mind when I think about my childhood and the family that I have and that I come from, I think about two things. I think about very honest, giving, warm people. And I think about the way that they all work so hard. And that was always such an example for me. I always saw my mom work hard. My mom actually went back to nursing school when I think she'd have to quote me on this, but I think I was in high school when my mom pursued her nursing degree, which was really tough because, like I said, I have two other sisters. And then when Mark's girls were there were 5 of us. So it was really, and I watched her kind of, go through that and really pursue her dream and work hard toward that. And that really is a theme of our family. It's kind of the example that is set, is just that when I look at them individually, I just see hardworking people that just whatever it is that they do it to the best of their abilities, and they take a lot of pride in that. And I can't help but think that got me to where I am now. Being able to come from a place of, sometimes people shine this negative light on divorced families. But I, when I reflect on it, I really think that I kind of got the best of both worlds, because I got to see, I got to see both sides, and I have brought in so much from both sides into my life and into what I do now. I see that, for me, I think it was important. But yeah, when I reflect on living, in West Alexandria and Preble County, I personally have very good childhood memories. I have memories of, a childhood in a close-knit community and in a close-knit school where it felt like home. It felt like people know who you are. People see you, people care about you. The teachers in your classroom, they know who your parents are. Maybe they went to school with them. And I know that that doesn't feel great to everyone, but for me personally, I enjoyed living in that small community with just people that, like I said, that you felt cared about. But yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, that was kind of my childhood. And then, like I said, I went to Twin Valley South after I graduated from Twin Valley South. I thought I wanted to set off and embark, go see what these big cities have to offer. So I went to college at the University of Toledo for 2 years. I was studying criminal justice.
Ooh.
And yeah, I know. Everyone has that reaction. I'm like, do I not seem like a criminal justice person or no? Really, my goal was I really wanted to be a juvenile probation officer. That was just, I thought that's just what my calling was. I mean, I really did. And so,
Did you have any experience with that? Had you been involved in any family members that did that, or what do you think the reason was?
Not really. It's just something, just the whole system has always been very interesting to me, you know, how people get involved in the system, how we can support them to try to get them on a better path. And I really felt like if I focused on kind of that juvenile probation role, I thought maybe I can intervene and try to change things for these kids so then they don't end up being adult offenders. That was my thinking. And I had some experience with the court system, not personally, but had some experience.
Laundry list.
Here we go. Yeah. But, you know, and actually had an opportunity to do some like job shadowing. Did some time with Dave Lenloff, which if you guys know Dave, I had some experiences for sure. And I really thought that's what I wanted to do. So I did 2 years at Toledo. At the time, their criminal justice program was only a 2-year degree, and I really wanted to pursue a 4-year. So I kind of had to shift. And I started doing research on schools that were strong in criminal justice programs, and EKU, Eastern Kentucky University, popped up. And I thought, well, I guess we're going to go for it. So halfway through my college experience, I uprooted and moved to Kentucky. There were a few Eaton people who were there, but really other than that, didn't know anyone. And so then I finished college at EKU and graduated with my criminal justice degree, my 4-year degree, which I was very proud of. Yeah. So did that. And right out of college, well, in the middle of all that is when I met Ricky too. So I would come home from college and work at Gels, and that we met and connected right before I was going into my senior year at EKU. So, but had a few jobs out of college after I graduated, and I realized I'm not so sure that this is what I should be doing. The work is important, and I'm so grateful for the people who do it, but I just quickly realized that I needed to be somewhere else. And it was kind of crazy the way that things unfolded with this success liaison position. So at the time, I was working for the Preble County Prosecutor's Office, a division of that called Victim Witness. So you work with victims of crime and supporting them through the process that they go through. And I really enjoyed that job. And I was approached about the success liaison position. I wasn't looking for a job. Nothing like that. Just kind of one of the girls from the team, she approached me and she was like, "Hey, I've been doing this job at National Trail. We're running a pilot program. We're looking to expand, and we would love to have you if you would consider it." And it's one of those moments where you're sitting at your office desk in this role that you're like, I like this job. I like the people I work with. You know, I'm kind of in a groove here. And I was like, at first I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so. I'm pretty set here. Thank you, but no thanks. And then, it's one of those things where you go home and you start to really think about it. And it's that pull, you just feel it, you feel that I think I should take a closer look at this. I think there could be something here. And so I did that and decided to pursue the success liaison position. So, after that, I started at Twin Valley South, which was an honor. It was so cool to be back.
In your old school.
In my old school.
What was it a tough decision to make that transition? You said you kind of had already been thinking that maybe there needed to be a change, and this happened, right, for whatever reason. So, was there something about the old job that you were doing that was like, okay, I really don't like this, or was it more about the kids?
Well, I tell you, the most challenging part of the old job was at the time, we had, it was an on-call respond. So if there were calls in the middle of the night, we responded to be with victims of crime, specifically in domestic violence situations. And that was challenging for me at the time. I had 2 little ones at home, and that part of it was challenging for me. Now looking back on it, it was challenging for me because, making child care arrangements at 2:00 in the morning or whenever your phone would ring. But also, emotionally, it's the work that victim advocates do is really, really, really tough. We're blessed in this county. We have amazing advocates, but it's difficult. And I loved the people I worked with. I felt so supported, and the work that they were doing was so incredible. But, there were moments in that role where I was like, I don't know. I love the people I work with. I love supporting victims, but is this where I'm supposed to be? And, you can't really push those feelings down. When they're there, they're there. You try to sometimes because you're like, I'm just having a bad day. Like, this is not really that bad. I'm just having a bad day. But, and I think it was just the perfect, I think it was just God's timing. I mean, I can see that now. At the time, it was like very stressful for me because I thought, oh my gosh, like I'm taking such a chance on this. They've run this program as a pilot program at National Trail for a half a stinking school year. And I'm going to take this leap of faith on a super steady career, with great benefits and great people I work with and a job that, sometimes it has hiccups, but for the most part, I'm doing okay in this, in this work. So it was a huge leap of faith. But I'm so glad that I did it. But I struggle with change. I'm just a person that, it's not easy for me because I always am thinking like, am I making the right decision? Right? Like all the things that we all roll and play in our heads. And I don't know, there was just this quiet little, like, just do it, just do it, just do it, just do it. And I did it. Sometimes I still can't believe I did it. Found the courage to do it.
Just because you were in that comfort zone, and again, change is hard for most people, and the scary thing to do is to take the step.
Yes.
But you took the step.
I took the step.
So you go back into your old school.
Yes.
Into a new position that's kind of unknown.
Unknown to the school as well. Because you have to understand, when the district decided, yes, this is going wonderful at National Trail. Okay, Preble County, your other districts, do you guys want this? And they say yes. Well, it was foreign to teachers too, right? So like, I'm at South on my first day and it's like, okay, come to me with all the things. Like, I want to be helpful. I want to support families. And the teachers are like, and the staff are like, I don't even know what you do yet. And I'm like, I don't either. We're gonna have to figure this out because I don't know either. But man, it quickly took off. It was like once teachers had and staff had a good understanding of how we could be helpful and supportive to families, and they saw the support and how supportive it could be to families. It was just like this beautiful kind of thing you just watched grow. And then, during my time there, not only did you start to have like the school and the staff had an understanding of what we do, but then it started broadening, like the community started hearing about our work. And then you would get the churches call you and they would say, hey, we see you doing this in the school. How can we help you? What can we do for you? We want to help kids. Like, just tell us, where can we plug in? And so that was really amazing to see too, because I say it all the time and I mean it. We really cannot do this work without the support of our community. It would be impossible. So yeah, but when I think back to those first couple months, I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't even know if I made the right decision here, because it just took a while to grow it.
Yeah, but something was on your heart. I mean, I think we've all been in different situations like that where you just get a feeling and, you don't know why. And then all of a sudden this opportunity, someone sits down with you and says, hey, why don't you consider doing this? And you're like, no. But then you go home and lay in bed at night and you're like, you know what? Maybe I can have a bigger impact in that. And, it kind of goes back to even what we're doing right here, right now. There's many times where we're just like, the heck are we going to talk about? Like, this is not us, we're really putting ourselves out there, but every day it's just like the conversation with you last week. And, and as you're talking about some of the stuff that we'll get in here that, that you guys do and a lot of the needs for our community, I just kept hearing this voice just saying, Allie needs to be on the podcast. Like there's someone out there needs to hear, what the Success Liaison role is all about and what the needs are, because there's people that listen that have giving hearts that can help. And that's what we need. So, there's a reason that happened. So, okay. So now what I want you to talk about is what does the Success Liaison role, what does that look like? What do you do for the schools?
Sure. So I think it's important to start with the fact that every Preble County district now has a Success Liaison, which is so exciting. And what we do in the schools essentially is we wrap around families and help them by supporting them with needs that kind of fall outside of the school setting. So typically that is around like a lack of basic needs. So what we do is we receive like what we call referrals from typically staff members in the school buildings. It can be anyone though. That's one of the things I love about our program. If you're just a neighbor to someone and you're like, I see this mom struggling, I know she just separated with her spouse, like anyone can make a referral to our program, which I love. But typically they come from school staff. And really what they do is teachers will pop in, they'll send us an email, they will call us and they'll say, hey, like I'm noticing some of these things in my student, or the parent just, let me know that this is happening in their home. Will you please reach out and see if they, need some support? So typically what that looks like is, I'll pick up the phone and call the parent and I'll just let them know, hey, this was brought to my attention, just reaching out to try to see, how I can support you. Could we sit down and just talk about, your situation? And once I have an understanding of, what you're going through, then maybe we can create a plan of support. Now, obviously, for people who don't know me, when someone from the school is calling you and they're saying, talk to me about this, that can be really terrifying for parents, right? Like, they're like, I don't know this lady, she's calling me wanting to know what we have going on. And that's why we really say in our program that the relationship that we build with people is so important. We call them clients, with the clients that we serve, it's so important because, for someone to tell you and to talk about how difficult things are and how much they're struggling, they have to trust you and know that, you're only asking them because you want to help them and be helpful to them. Because it can feel very scary for some of our clients. Many of them, grew up not having positive childhood experiences, maybe from like their own family or, from experiences that they had in school or whatever it might be. Many of them didn't, unfortunately didn't have people they could count on, as children. And so breaking through that sometimes is really challenging, but I feel like you do it with love. You when you call them, you try to put yourself in their shoes, and think about like, what would it feel like if I was receiving this phone call, and how would I want it to go? How would I want someone to talk to me about this? And I really try to, every time before I pick up the phone and make those phone calls, I really try to put myself in their shoes. And then, after that conversation with the parent, if they're like, I think I would like to come in and talk to you and, see how you can help. Then usually I bring them into my office and we kind of, again, we just chat about what they're going through, what led them to this point. And then we create a plan of support based on whatever it is that they share. So, if it's like a mom saying, I'm facing utility disconnection, and I'm really afraid because, it's cold outside. If we don't have electricity, like, this is going to be really a challenge for me. Then what we do is we link them to community resources that can be helpful. And not only do we just link them, but we help them fill out the applications. If there's some red tape that we have to try to break through, which sometimes, with larger agencies like Job and Family Services, sometimes there are some tricky applications and some red tape that you have to work through and help the families, because it's very challenging. We help them with that whole process, and then any other needs that come up along the way and in our journey with them. We primarily, like I said, we deal with a lot of basic needs, concerns.
How do you, those are difficult conversations.
Yes.
Have you had moments or instances where they say we don't need help and they hang up?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
How do you
Yes.
handle those?
My philosophy with those phone calls has always been, like, don't give up on them, right? Because the reality is, if I'm in their shoes and Allie Shafer's calling me from the school, I'm probably going to be a little bit like, oh, they cannot know. Nope, I'm not telling them. They cannot know. Who knows what she'll do with this information, right? I mean, so typically what I do is just like that gentle engagement over time, right? Because we know, in most of those situations, I know that the family needs help, and the challenges that they're facing are not going to go away. So it's not, a matter of maybe they're not open to it right now. But if you can just gently build a rapport with them, you see them in the building and you just say hi to them, or you try to have like small interactions where you can build trust with them. I have a family that comes to mind when I think about that. I called them because I knew they were in a really difficult situation, and I called them and they were not open, very polite about it, but just like, no, thank you. And then I think over time their situation just got challenging, and I think they couldn't really manage it anymore. And again, I would try to have those small interactions in the building with them, or if there were opportunities where like for Shoes for the Shoeless or programming like that, I would send it out to them just to try to build some trust. And then fast forward, it was probably like, I'm guessing 2 school years later. That would be a guess, but I'm guessing. Finally, I got a call from them. Hey, can we sit down with you? And it was that moment where I was like, it works, but you have to have the patience. You have to have the patience, and you have to give people the space and allow them to have services on their own time, because that's the beautiful thing about our program. It's voluntary, and it's meant to be supportive. It's not meant to be something where families feel like they have to do it. They do it because it's, for most, situations, it's helpful to them, and they want to. But I think about that family, and it's just that dance with resistance, that sometimes you just have to ride that wave with them. And that's hard. That's really hard for teachers and staff in buildings, because they love these kids. They love them like their own. And they're like, why won't the mom just work with you? Why won't the family just work with you? And it's hard, especially when they need the help. But it's being honoring of the person. And that's important in our jobs too.
Yeah, it just takes time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Talk about the need. Preble County's we're a rural county.
Yeah.
There's 5 schools, school districts in the county. Mm-hmm. Talk about the need in our little small area.
Yeah. The need, what I will say about the need is it would surprise you. It would surprise you. Early in my years, when I would speak at churches or things like that, people would come up to me afterward and they were like, gosh, we really have kids coming to school that like aren't wearing socks or don't have lunch money on their accounts or don't have, electricity on at home. And I'm like, oh, yes, they've always been there. It's just we didn't really have an opportunity to see them or to help them. Really, the need in Preble County, it's those things that we take for granted when we walk in our house. It's opening that cupboard and having pretty much anything at your disposal. It's having clothing that fits, that's not your sister's or your cousin's. It's having a winter coat to put on when you walk out the door. It's having, a pair of shoes that fit you, a pair of socks to wear that are clean. It's having a car that's reliable when you have to work because that's the way you support your family. It's all of those things that we access every single day. That running water that you take a shower with every morning. It's all of those things that we touch every day that we don't think twice about, but that some of these families are struggling so much they cannot provide that to their children. And then when you think about that, and then you think about the children in the classroom, and when they're facing these things at home, whether it be, our electricity was shut off yesterday, or, in November, we didn't get our SNAP benefit and food is so tight right now. When they have those worries on their mind, it's so hard for them to sit in a classroom and to be fully engaged academically. And so I think, like I said, I always tell people the need would surprise you. We see it every day in our work.
One of the conversations that we had last week at the career fair, you were talking about laundry.
Yes.
And the need for washers and dryers.
Yes.
And that's what really got me. You hear the stories about the kids not having proper nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously know about the Shoes for the Shoeless in that program and those things. I mean, all these things, again, that you said we take for granted.
Yeah.
But when you talked about the washer and the dryers, that's when I was like, holy cow. So talk about that specifically, because there was a couple instances that you shared, the struggles that a mom has. They got to go down and wash laundry and go back up and make dinner and then come back and the laundry's gone.
Yes.
So share some of those stories if you would.
Sure. So, and I think I talked to Ben about this. Was this last year at Shoes for the Shoeless?
Yeah.
I think you asked me, you said,
where are the other needs here in Preble County?
What is something that what is a need that is there and it's real, but we haven't been able to problem solve fully yet? And I think I told you laundry.
Yeah.
It's laundry. Because really we have some community resources for laundry, but my dream and my vision is to have laundry access for the entire county for folks to be able to utilize. And Ben has done some research for me, and he's been so helpful in trying. We're trying. We're trying. And we talk about how laundry should not be complicated, right? This is something that, again, we go home, we throw a load of laundry in, throw the soap in, and we think nothing of it. But the reality is laundry is challenging for families who are in a low income status. It just is, depending on their living situations. I think I shared with you, in Eaton, we have some folks who are living in apartment style living, and they do have access to washers and dryers, but there's so many challenges around that. They've shared with me the heartache of, putting in a load of laundry. And, mind you, the loads of laundry to wash, I mean, it's expensive. It's probably I don't know, I'm guessing, but double or triple what we pay a load, in our home setting. But, it's when they finally get get the money and the means to be able to do that laundry and prioritize that. The devastation of, sometimes, and we hear it, they'll put the load in, start it, and then either their clothes will be taken out of the washer and sat on the floor, and then a person will put their laundry in and utilize like the cycle, or the clothing will be stolen completely. And of course, we work with a ton of families, but a lot of our clients are single moms, and for them, when something like that happens, it's devastating. And of course, we can rally around them after the fact and after that happens. But this challenge around just having, clean clothing, it's such a struggle. And, we see it. And I think when I think about the families we serve, I think about how they are tasked with trying to, kind of budget the money for the month, and I think none of us are blind to the fact that everything is very expensive right now. It's very expensive. And they're struggling financially, just like, all of us are. And I think that laundry is one of those things that it just gets kind of pushed to the side, right? Because yes, it's necessary, but when you compare it to food, or when you compare it to the other needs that these families are facing, it takes a back seat. But what I will tell you is, for children, that can become very challenging in a school setting, right? Because then there are concerns that come to us from teachers, which are very fair, about, hygiene and things like that. All of the things that come from, not having clean clothing. And socially, the impact that can have on children can honestly be devastating, right? I mean, because as humans, it's unkind, but it's natural, especially with smaller children, that, right, you pull away from people when they have, an odor or something like that. So socially, it can be really hard for kids, and into those teenage years as well, and so my dream is to have a place, and we've talked about this so many different ways, but just to have a place where families can go and just do as much laundry as they need, right? Because to me, that's such a basic need as well. I don't know that we necessarily classify it as that, but like, right? I mean, just having a clean shirt to put on. And so my dream is to have a place where people can go and where they know that, like, hey, I'm going to be able to do my laundry here. This is a safe space. This is a place where, I can get that taken care of, and I can check that off of my list.
So ideally, where would that be?
I don't know. We've talked about this so many times. I do know that, and again, like with Ben, we've both kind of done some independent research, like, how are other people doing this? What does this look like? And I know that in some counties, like, they will partner with laundromats and they will do like vouchers, right? So like the laundromats are obviously already there, and then the families receive a voucher for like so many loads of laundry. I think it goes based on your family size. One of the challenges is, though, in Preble County, we don't have very many laundromats like still available. So I don't know necessarily what that would look like for us. But then I'm a dreamer, and I'm like, well, what if, so for every pocket of Preble County, right? Because Eaton kind of tends to be that central hub where we focus everything. But I know that, the families who we have living in Camden or in the National Trail School District, it's challenging for them transportation wise sometimes to get to Eaton. And so whatever we do, I want to be mindful of the families in those pockets of the county and making sure that we can offer that service to them and it be available. So then I started thinking about, could we partner with churches in every community? And it could essentially be, an outreach that the church does. I don't know. I've thought about it so many ways. And then Ben, you have done research with
Loads of Love,
Loads
I
of-
believe.
yeah.
And then, so that's one where they partner with, I believe it's 7 Generations is the laundry soap. And then, but they partner with laundromats and they have a conversation. There's like an hour's, it might be a 2-hour gap in a day where people will go in and they'll serve for them. So, they bring in their laundry, you do the laundry for them, and it's like a mission.
Yeah.
And I think, we had that conversation. And then the other one, which is just, it feels like to me a no-brainer, would be what you said about the churches, right?
Yeah.
And I believe you might have said it when we were talking the other day about, Jesus washed feet.
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be awesome if the church can wash clothes?
Yeah.
What a mission statement that would be. You know what I mean?
I envision this space where, like, if we could get some churches on board,
Mhm.
Where families could come and do laundry and also just be, like, talked to,
Yeah.
just, hey, how are you? Like, is there anything we can help you with as a church? Can we,
Yeah.
if it's not prayer, like, what can we do to support you? Because that is a common theme amongst the families that we serve. I know I do. I take for granted the amazing people that I have in my life always cheering me on.
Mhm.
These people, some of the clients who we work with, they really don't have a lot of people in their corner. And so when you think about, there's a lot of downtime when you're doing laundry. You can have
Yeah.
a lot of conversation doing
Right.
laundry.
Yeah.
And I just think churches are a safe space too.
Yeah. It's one that when we had the conversation, I believe we started the conversation at Shoes for the Shoeless, and I believe the kids were playing at the pool one day and we were talking about it there.
Start back up.
Yeah. It's one that
Started dreaming again.
Yes, and it's one that angers me because, you talk about like the parents and they're trying to do it and stuff we take
Yeah.
for granted, and they're sitting here, me personally, you think government shutdown, it's like, well, in my life, can I
Yeah.
tell that the government shut down? No.
Sure.
Like me personally, where I'm at, no, I can't. But then you hear about the SNAP benefits gone. And then we had the conversation at the career day, and you're like, these people are trying to figure out, okay, do I buy a little bit of food for my family
Mhm.
or do I wash clothes?
Yeah.
Well, then what's like the biggest crisis in my eyes right now in the school system, just overall, not just, with families with needs, is what? Mental health.
Yeah.
So imagine a first and second grader walking in and all the kids, nobody wants to be around them. Nobody wants to stay around them.
Yeah.
Third, fourth, fifth grade comes around. It's the same exact thing.
Yeah.
What do you think that child's view of themselves is?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me? Why does nobody want to be my friend? Why? These are such small, in my eyes, such small problems that there should be tons of solutions for, right?
Yeah.
Like if we are, I view myself as a Christian. If all these churches and stuff in our county, like if we're really about it, then be about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, and to be fair to our churches and to our community, they
Yeah.
don't know until they know. And I really haven't done a great job of like the outreach piece of it. But maybe,
Right.
like we talked about, and this is where my bravery came from for the podcast, because I thought maybe if I go on, maybe someone will be willing to think about it.
yeah.
And have an
To
idea.
have an
to be able to
idea.
help.
We could do a committee.
Yeah.
Where we just brainstorm, because I do think that, it's just, laundry is so simple and it's something that we do every day and we think nothing of it. But for some of the families that we work with in our program and the children that we see in the school buildings, it's important.
Yeah. And that's what, for me, and when I say churches, I think that's the biggest thing that I say, that I think people view it as like building or like the leaders of churches. And I feel like that's not where we fall off. You know what I mean? I feel like the
Yeah.
leaders in churches are amazing. I feel like they're great people, but then there's the people that are churches, which is the church in the Bible is like the people like of Jesus, right? The followers, like wherever you're gathered, like you cannot belong to a church, but you gather and you talk about God, or you act in the, the way that Jesus acted. I believe that's church. And one that hit me for today was Matthew 26. It says, "For I was hungry, you fed me. I was thirsty, you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, you invited me into your home. I was naked, you gave me clothing. I was sick, you cared for me. I was in prison, you visited me." Then the righteous one will reply, because this is Jesus talking, "Lord, when did we ever see you hungry or feed you, or thirsty and gave you something to drink, or a stranger that showed you hospitality, or naked and gave you clothing? When did we ever see you sick or in prison or visit you?" And then the king will say, "I tell you the truth. When you did it to the one of the least of these brothers and sisters, you were doing it for me." Like, it's not about like, yes, you're serving those people, and we need to serve those people, but like, it tells you, like, if this is what you're about, like, it's all over scripture, And that's what breaks me, because it's like, man, that's why people are against religion a lot of times, is people say they're a part of church because they go to it on Sunday, but are they really living the word? Are they really living what Jesus tells us to do? And I don't know, that's what, when I talk about the church, it's almost like not the buildings and that, but the community, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's a need in our community. Let's do something about it.
Yeah. Well, and I think about, I think about these kids. I think about the kid in the corner of the classroom that's away from everybody. And, again, it goes back to mental health, but, these kids, a lot of these kids already lack confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And you take a child with dirty clothes, or with, like what we've seen, we talked about a little bit, the shoes for the shoeless. I mean, that was an eye-opening experience for me as well.
Was it?
Getting involved in that, and the Shoes for the Shoeless program is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yes.
what an amazing program to be. I mean, I was so touched by it. We brought most of our team from Caitron's Glass last year to National Trail.
Yeah.
And because, again, it was just one of those things. We get so caught up in our daily lives, the busyness of all the stuff that we have going on, and you see certain things, but until you actually hold a child's hand and walk with them through the gym, and you sit down and you take their shoes off and you take their socks off and you get to know them, and you go get them a new pair of socks, and you go get them a pair of shoes that's the color that they like, that fit, that are clean. Like, you do not realize the need that's out there. I did not realize the need that's out there. And then you add into the fact last week when we're talking about the whole laundry situation, and I just I just think of holding that child's hand as I'm walking through the gym, as I'm putting shoes on them. And I think about, they get up to school the next day, and that whole week they've been wearing the same set of clothes. Yeah. Maybe they went through gym class and they've sweated. Maybe they've been outside and it's rained. Yeah. All the things that we take for granted, that the need in our community is so great. We can do more. And that's why I wanted you up here, was to talk about this. And I don't know what the answer is, if it's the churches with the laundry, if it's doing something with the schools and applying for grants I don't know what it is, but I hope and pray that someone out there is listening right now that potentially has some resources, that has ideas that we can pursue. Because I think if we want to break a cycle, if we want to make a family better than what they've got, which we all want that, right? We want our kids to be better than what we are. Yeah. There's people out there that need help, and we need to be the ones, like you said, we are the church to help those people. Yeah.
Yeah.
The shoe for the shoeless, I'm sure you got many stories, but like some of the eye-opening stories was it last year? It might have been last year or 2 years ago, when a kid came in with no socks, and he said it was my brother's turn to wear them. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden the brother comes in and they're huge on him. And it was because they're his dad's socks, and he was able to wear them. Just stories like that. I mean, I'm sure you get tons of them, but those ones just break you, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, it's people talk like all the time, people say to me, I had no idea. I had no idea. And it, with children in that situation and with families in these situations, a lot of times, they suffer in silence. That's what they know, and sometimes when it goes back to, you said, like, when you call them, do you get resistance? Well, yes, of course. Like, they never in a million years did they dream someone would pick up the phone and just want to help them, right?
Especially the day and age we live in now, it's like you call and offer me help. Okay, well, what do I have to give back to you?
Of course.
For you to help me. Like, why would you just want to help?
Yeah.
You know, that's sadly the world we live in.
Yeah, you're right.
How do you, you know, I'm sure there's days you go home and you're just crushed by conversations that you've had or by things that you've seen. How do you go home? You've got 3 children, you got a husband, you've got a house, you got all these things, you know, to maintain and to do. How do you separate that?
Well, I'll be honest, it's hard. It's difficult. I think I use tools to help me. Number one, I think it's always about like my faith in believing that I don't do this work alone. I've always kind of had this mindset of like, I really do feel closest to God when I'm in this role and doing this work. For me, it's not necessarily in church. And I know that kind of, because I know it's important to be in church. But that's where I lean on him to kind of be like, I got this until tomorrow. I promise, you know, I've got it. So it's faith. And also, you know, just trying to shift my focus to being home and being present, because as difficult as it can be to hear the stories and to kind of take all of that in all of the time, I believe that, you know, my kids deserve, and Ricky deserves, for me to be present for them when I'm home too. I'm not perfect at it. There are days that are not great, because I just worry. I worry about some of these situations so much. And I not only do I worry, but for the kids and for their families, I wish it could be different for them, you know? And I feel like my brain is always like, okay, well, maybe we could try this, and maybe we could try this. Or if I called this person or this agency, maybe we could advocate for that. And so it's hard to shut down that noise. But typically what I have to remind myself of is that my family deserves time with me, where I'm focused on them too. Just as much as I'm focused on the families that I serve, they deserve that. And truly, I know this sounds weird, but like exercise too, because it helps me. I usually do my workouts in the evening, and it just helps me kind of work through and process some of that. I didn't always love exercise in that way. But I use it as a tool, because what we see and what we hear and what we deal with on a regular basis, it is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And sometimes you feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm just running in a hamster wheel. I say that all the time. I'm like, I'm just running in a hamster wheel. But yeah, it's something that you try so hard to check it at the door. Some days are better than others, but you use tools. And I lean on my family a lot too. Like when it's really rough, you know, my sister Tara is a foster parent. She lives in Dallas. And so we, share stories and frustrations, because sometimes, the things that we're experiencing are similar. And I lean on my family sometimes when it gets really heavy, because you just have to. I mean, poor Ricky he's been my unpaid therapist for many years, many years. I think he could probably tell you what I'm going to say before it even comes out of my mouth. But yeah, I do my best with it, but it's hard. I mean, I would be lying if I said, oh, you just walk right in your door and here we go.
Yeah.
It's not always like that.
No, but what's amazing for me with you is, hearing your story growing up with with your grandparents and your parents, you know, that caring heart, you know, seeing that servant leadership. I mean, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know, what you're doing is serving others, and there's a burden to that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important, you know, like you said, with exercise, with conversation, you know, to not hold things in, because it can get really, really heavy. Because when you have a caring heart, you're thinking of others.
Yeah.
And then you sometimes forget about yourself. And so it's important to recognize that. And I think you have. It doesn't mean that it's easy, right? It's not.
Holidays are probably the most challenging time for me.
And that was another thing you talked about was the need in our area.
Yeah.
How many people were in need?
Oh my goodness. So we do Christmas support for the entire county. It's a program called Christmas for Kids. Our team leads the kind of organizational pieces and parts of it, but the community and everyone in the community makes it happen, right? We just kind of organize it. And I think what I was sharing with you guys at National Trail is, and of course this did not surprise us again with kind of where we are right now. We are well over 900 children in Preble County who are registered for Christmas assistance this year. There was some mention of, and I don't know where we are with our current number, but that we might hit 1,000 kids this year. So it speaks to the need. You know, it's just in the Christmas for Kids program, it's incredible because again, we organize it, we do all of the pieces and parts, but the community fully makes it happen. I mean, we have people reaching out like on our Facebook page, like still asking for tags. Do you have any tags left that haven't been taken? Churches, you know, hey, any kids who we could help with, even if they're last minute. I mean, it's incredible to think that, you know, 900 kids have their Christmases taken care of just by people who care. And that's the thing that makes this work so special is we do. And I think that's why I was called to come back to Preble County and to give to this county. It's because we have so many caring people in this community. We really do. I mean, like yesterday, you know, we had a snow day, which was awesome. But yesterday, 2 people messaged me. One person from a church, hey, we haven't been able to reach out to you yet, but how can we help? How can we plug in? And then another one, hey, you know, we'd like to do a donation. Can you help us? Can you help guide me through that process? Like just people who just want to give. And it's amazing. But the holidays are difficult for me personally because a couple of reasons. We know that we have children who, you know, their family situations are difficult. And for many of those children, school is a safe place. It's a super safe place. It's not uncommon to see behaviors and tears before long holiday breaks like Christmas and Thanksgiving. Because for some of our children, it is the best place they've ever known. And, you know, that is just their reality. So I sometimes over Christmas break, you know, I struggle with that because we know what these kiddos are facing in their home lives, in their situations, and the worry that comes with that. Because, you know, the reality for me is these are not only the children I serve in my professional role, but these are the kids in my community. These are the kids that sit next to my kids at school. These are the kids that I care so much about in their families. And you see the struggle. And sometimes during the holidays, it's hard to be fully present when you know people have so many things going on. It's almost like you get this little pang of guilt a little bit. Like, gosh, we are blessed beyond measure. You know, you see your kids opening gifts or, just all of the things. And you think about the people who are going through difficult times, and it's very humbling. It's very humbling work. But I really would not have it any other way. Yeah.
It's amazing. I can see the passion and the care in your eyes, and hear it in your voice. And, our community is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. We have some amazing people, amazing leaders. A lot of times all we hear from people is negative things, and that can draw you down. But man, deep at the heart of our small community are some amazing people who care and who want to give back and who want to help others. And I hope that those that are out there that are listening, that maybe you feel like you're not doing enough.
Yeah.
How can they get in contact with you to at least have a conversation to say, hey, how can I help? What can I do? What can I give?
Yeah.
How can people get in touch with you?
Well, they can always call my cell phone. That's what most people do. They can email me at my school email. Would be happy to have a conversation and see how they want to connect. And that's the beautiful thing is we have so many different people who want to help and help our program in so many different ways. Like we have churches who they focus on helping us with shoes. And then we have some community members who focus on helping us with lunch account balances. And, it's whatever is on their heart. Like we had a new thing pop up last school year where we had a community member who she wanted to bake like nice cakes for kids for their birthdays, like free of charge. I mean, it's incredible. And then, as families, as we're working with them and needs come up, then we're like, oh yeah, we can plug her into, working with her. So yeah, any way that people want, it doesn't have to be money, it can be
time.
It can be time. It can be, this single mom needs some help with getting her grass cut. Could you cut her grass? It could be so many different things. So yeah, I would be happy they can call me, email me.
Yeah.
I can give you all that information. And
yeah, you don't have to give it out here live. But
yeah, no, I don't want
yeah.
I don't want to be answering phone calls all Christmas break.
Yeah. We'll make the connection. You can reach out to us. We'll put a link on the podcast to the school email.
Perfect. Yeah.
So that way they can reach out to you that way. And then if more comes from that would be good.
Yeah.
All right. Last question.
Okay.
You made it.
I've gone almost all the way through. Woo.
If you could sit on a park bench and have a conversation with someone living or deceased, who would it be and why?
Yeah. So she's living. It would be Brene Brown. Are you guys familiar with her at all?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, I love her. She's amazing. So she does a lot of things, but she's a professor. She's an author. She's an advocate, and a researcher, and she's done tons of research around courage, vulnerability, empathy. And I just think she is such a rock star. She is so fearless. I think that's what I love about her so much, because she has the courage that sometimes I wish I had. You know what I mean? Like she just, I don't know. I can't even describe it, but I would just love to have like 15 minutes with her and just, I don't know, talk about whatever. I just think it would be so fun. And actually, I really think that you guys would like her content as well. It's very real. But her famous motto is always courage over comfort. And I think it sticks with me because sometimes in this work and in advocating for families, you do have to have courage, right? Because people have strong opinions sometimes about the families that we serve. And sometimes going up against that can be challenging. You have to have courage sometimes to help people understand that you may think you know what's happening with these families, and you have these ideas, right, about what you think they should be doing. But I know the real stories behind it because I sit with them and I listen to them and I know why they are where they are. And sometimes it takes courage to sit in a room when people think a certain way about a family, but you know the truth and you try to get them to see that. And so I think she's just a role model for me because she's always talking about, and vulnerability, which is not something I do well either.
I don't think anybody does get vulnerability.
So, and she's always talking about how you need to be more vulnerable. And again, it strikes me because it's something that I ask of my clients, but I don't do very well myself, right? Like, I mean, we ask them to be vulnerable, right? We ask them, like, tell me everything. Tell me what's going on. So I just feel like I would love to meet her. I would love to just have conversations with her, pick her brain about so many things.
Courage over comfort. I think that might describe you.
I don't know. I try.
You had the courage to leave your role where you admittedly said you were comfortable in your position.
Yeah.
Right?
I was.
Not an easy position, but you were comfortable to step into the unknown of this new position at your old school.
Yeah.
Probably a little pressure there.
Yeah.
Into a role that really wasn't defined,
No, not at the time.
To try to, I mean, that takes some courage.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. It takes some courage.
Thank you.
Well, you got to add anything?
No, you're amazing. I think the thing that Dan talked about was he saw your passion and every time we have a conversation about any of this, you can just see the passion. That's why we're blessed to have you in Preble County.
We are
for these families.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing because, I know the things that I deal with on a daily basis in the business world and with family and all those things. And then as you're talking last week, like, then I sit back and I think, really, Dan, like, you're letting whatever bother you. And there's a kid sitting somewhere in a classroom who hasn't had his clothes washed in 7 days because mom can't afford it because she's got to go and put fuel in her car to get to work or to go buy food, or in some cases they can't even buy food. The only meal they get is at school. Boy, when you really start thinking about those needs, it really makes what I think is a big deal or a burden to me. Like, I feel like a turd.
Yeah.
I mean, and I hope that that something will come from this, whether it's with the laundry situation, if we can get something worked out there with some churches. Maybe it's just getting a group of community leaders together that can come together and understand truly what's going on and what the need is, and then kind of put a plan of attack together and say, okay, here's our priority list. How can we go out? Are there grants available to do this? Are there churches that want to get involved in this? What does that look like? What are the costs associated with that? I think, you mentioned, I think about, I know how much laundry is done at our home with 7 people there. I don't think the washer and dryer ever shut off, but you think about, I can go put a load of laundry in and I can go do something else.
Yeah.
But you got to go to the laundromat, take, however many loads of laundry that takes, a couple hours out of your day, and you really can't leave it, right? In most cases. So you got to sit there. So what are you doing? It just takes time, and anymore, time is a valuable commodity. And if you're in a struggling position, I could see where that would go to the wayside. Yeah. And it's sad because it's sad for those kids. It's sad for the parents because they don't want that.
They don't. And that's the thing. Sometimes that's the misconception that we're up against in our role, is, that parents don't. And we work with parents, with families, moms and dads, grandparents who are raising their grandkids, and they want the moon and the stars for their kids. When you sit down with them, you see the love there. You see so many things. But sometimes their situations just don't allow them to be able to provide in the way that they want to. And just, it's just important to try to keep reminding people of that. These parents, we do, our whole team, we sit with them, we see they want so much more for their kids and they love them. but sometimes their situations are just really, really difficult. Yeah, they are.
Is there a question I should have asked you that I didn't? Anything you want to share that I should have brought up?
You know, I always think that it's so important to give credit where credit is due. And I just feel like I'm able to be in this role because a few people in Preble County had the dream to bring it here. They would never want me to probably say that, but Jeff Ginter, who's a pastor in New Paris, was a pastor. He's retired now, right? I think so, yeah. And Jeff Parker, who was a superintendent at National Trail. Mr. Parker tells the story all the time where, you know, he's good friends with Jeff Ginter, and Mr. Parker saw a pamphlet about the program. It had been running in Butler County. And he was like, we have to have this. We have to make this work. We have to try to change cycles for these kids and help them in the academic setting by helping the family as a whole, by supporting the parent. And it's because, you know, that dream that he had, you know, and then in talking with Jeff Ginter, that's why we're here today. And then, you know, because they had that dream, then we had agencies and funders who came to the table and they said, we'll support you. We'll help you make it happen. And it's because of those funders and because the school districts value us. I mean, it's the whole reason that we're able to be here and to do this work. And so I think it's really important to thank those people because we wouldn't be here today without them.
Think of how many lives they changed.
I know. Yeah. And you know, Mr. Parker used to always talk about, and Jeff Ginter did as well, if we just change one, it's worth it. And that kind of like, I hear that in my head all the time because when I'm on the hamster wheel, right? Because I told you guys I run on it a lot. I hear them say that. And I think they're right. If you just help or change the trajectory of one family, it's worth it. I mean, it is. It's worth it. And I know it's so many more. I mean, our team, you know, and that's the other thing. Like, I mean, I have to brag on our team because, you know, I know this interview is kind of about me and my journey, but I work with some incredible ladies. I mean, they're rock stars at what they do. And sometimes I get emotional thinking about how proud I am of them because it takes special people to do that work every day because it's challenging, and they do an amazing job. And yeah, I just really wanted to publicly, I guess, say thank you to all the people who have been on the journey and allowed us to be here. Because we wouldn't be here without them.
Well, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you for doing what you're doing because it's definitely not an easy role, but it's one that I think is perfect for you.
Thank you for saying that.
And, you know, it's perfect for our community, for the schools. You know, I hope that, again, that something is going to come from this that will continue to help the families and the kids, again, to break those cycles. Because, you know, in most cases, these kids are going to stick around in our communities.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we want them to have a positive experience where they can look back and say, hey, Ms. Shafer helped me.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. Parker helped me, whoever it is. So in return, I'm going to help somebody else. And I think that's the beauty of having some faith. It's the beauty of being vulnerable. It's the beauty of just wanting to help and care for others.
Yeah.
To improve where we live and what we do. And so super grateful for you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for letting me come on.
Yeah.
Thanks for having the courage to come and do it.
Courage over comfort.
Last night I was like, well, maybe I could get the flu. Maybe I get
Praying for the flu.
Well, I didn't text you intentionally because I was like, oh, I'm not going to give her any avenue to back out.
I know, yeah.
No, this was powerful, Allie. I appreciate that. I again, it opens my eyes. I hope it opens whoever's listening. And something's going to come from this. We're going to get this laundry situation figured out.
Yeah.
We're going to do something. So
I believe we will. That's the whole reason. It's kind of the same thing when Dan and I first, this is way out of my comfort zone still. We always say communication major from Dayton, a degree from Dixie.
Go Greyhounds. Go Greyhounds.
Really hard.
Go Greyhounds. Yeah, listen. But no, so we always say that. And when we first decided to do it, it was just one person. Like, we can just help one person.
Yeah.
And now, we're on Patreon and we have a community of people that we believe think the same way. They support us. And hopefully, if none of those people actually have the capacity to fix this situation, hopefully somebody, well, you know what? I bet so-and-so would have it and they could share it with them. And, if the more we share the story, the more we have opportunity for solutions. So.
Or if they just take the time to pray for us in our work.
Yeah.
And if they don't pray, just to lift us in their thoughts, because praying for the families, praying for the people who do this work.
Yeah. And the biggest thing I think is to actually see the need. So Shoe for the Shoeless, those dates, we'll share it on our BeTempered page, but those are the days that you come in there and your world will be, I feel like, wrecked and your eyes will be opened, because you'll see it's not, Allie's not talking about, in some other nation or, some other state. No, she's talking about in your backyard. These are the needs of the families, the kids, and you see it. And
well, and that's the most powerful thing with the Shoes for the Shoeless thing is at the end, after the kids leave and they ask, will somebody get up and share something? And every time, man, you talk about just heart-wrenching stories that you just, I don't know. I think when you're in it and you actually see the need, and you feel the need, then it makes you want to do more, or at least does for me. I know.
Yeah.
So amazing. Thank you again, Allie.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Everybody, please like and share and do all those things that we need you to do so that we can help Allie and the Success Liaison team and all the county schools in Preble County and down in Butler County, and go out and be tempered.
Hi, my name is Allie Schmidt. This is my dad, Dan. He owns Catron's Glass.
Thanks, Allie. Things like doors and windows go into making a house, but when it's your home, you expect more, like the great service and selection you'll get from Catron's Glass. Vinyl replacement windows from Catron's come with a lifetime warranty, including accidental glass breakage replacement. Also ask for custom shower doors and many other products and services. Call 962-1636, locally owned with local employees for nearly 30 years.
Catron's Glass, the clear choice.
I want to share something that's become a big part of the BeTempered mission, Patreon. Now, if you've never used it before, Patreon is a platform where we can build community together. It's not just about supporting the podcast. It's about having a space where we can connect on a deeper level, encourage one another, and walk this journey of faith, resilience, and perseverance side by side. Here's how it works. You can join as a free member and get access to daily posts, behind-the-scenes updates, encouragement, and some things I don't always put out on other platforms. And if you feel called to support the mission financially, there are different levels where you can do that too. That support helps us keep producing the podcast, creating gear, hosting events, and sharing stories that we believe can truly impact lives. And here's the cool part. Patreon has a free app you can download right on your phone. It works just like Facebook or Instagram, but it's built specifically for our community. You'll be able to scroll through posts, watch videos, listen to content, and interact with others who are on the same journey. At the end of the day, this isn't just about content, it's about connection. It's about building something together, not just me and Ben putting out episodes, but a family of people committed to growing stronger through real stories and real faith. So whether you just want to hop on as a free member or you feel called to support in a bigger way, Patreon is the door into that community. Because at the heart of BeTempered has always been simple, real stories, raw truth, resilient faith, so that even one person out there that hears what they need to hear, and Patreon helps make that possible.